Hey guys, welcome to another car review, and this time in the 2017 Honda Civic Hatchback Sport. Now, the funny thing is that when this car drove up, I was instantly looking for the VTEC badging, which is completely and utterly non-existent on this car. And there's a reason for that, because it is powered by a 1.5 liter turbocharged engine. And something that I definitely did notice when I look at the front of the car is that Lamborghini influence, and I think it actually gets away with it. Now then you go to the back end, and the back end looks absolutely mean with the twin exhaust in the middle. Now usually that's really reserved for hot hatches. Now I can't really call this a hot hatch because the engine underneath makes 180 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, about 7 seconds, quarter mile to 15-second range. So it's not going to win any races against a true hot hatch. But I do like the fact that they made a car like this look like this because it's interesting for a younger person. Now, there's one part of the styling that I'm kind of like iffy on about, and that is the side profile. It really kind of has an identity crisis. It kind of looks like a sedan, but it is very obviously a hatchback because you have this whole big old hatch that opens up and gives you a ton of room in the back. You can also fold the seats down so you can go pretty much anywhere with it. Put a bunch of tents in there. This is going to be a great road trip car because of that. Now this particular one is the base car, so you get the base interior, but these seats are not bad at all. They give you plenty of side support. Get on the brakes here a little bit. That is not bad at all. Let's see if we can get a turn in here. Bit of rev hang there. Not that big of a fan of that. Does seem to be stuck on the top of the rev range because I just shifted at 5,500. It isn't that bad then, but I was at 65 and it actually stuck there. I don't know why it did that, but that it could definitely be an issue if you're not expecting that. Now we're ending up here at a red light. So let's see what it does from a dig. I'm not going to completely launch it because this is not my car, but I am going to stick it a little. Not bad, not bad. It definitely does put you back in your seat. And that chirp in second gear, oh yeah, I'm gonna love that. Again, getting on these brakes here. Even though the exhaust is back there and it looks very, very imposing, don't really listen to it that much. Here we go. You know what I mean? It does move quite nicely, and with that I come really to a very simple conclusion. Makes 180 horsepower. It's a 4-door. It's probably pretty good on insurance for younger people. I think this might be one of those cars that you should consider getting your child or helping your child with acquiring if they ask for it, because not overly powerful, won't get you in a ton of trouble, but it still looks pretty darn awesome. Now, one thing that I always like to do is go 60 miles an hour and see where the rev counter ends up. And right now we are slightly below 2,500 RPM at 60 miles an hour. And I do like the way the shifter handles. This is very, very fast, very, very direct. And I'm not feeling any type of lag in it. It's not fighting me at all. It's so light. It's light as a feather, this clutch. You just push it in. It's like you just breathe against it and it goes whoosh, all the way down to the bottom. And it could be a positive. If you're a young kid, you don't really want to deal with heavy clutches. This would probably be one of the most easy cars to learn how to drive a manual on. And if you want to be about that manual life, there's another positive thing about this car. It makes more horsepower than the CVT does. Shifting at 4,000 RPM, and I instantly also noticed something else. There is this U over here that tells you when you're probably being green and when you're not being green at all. It's another thing that I actually find kind of weird. This car does have that adaptive steering where it gets very, very light when you go slow and it tightens up when the speed goes up. So it's something you really got to get used to. And the owner said that there's a bunch of other owners out there that have curbed this car, which I can definitely see. I do love the way this thing pulls. It might not be a rocket ship, but slow it is not. It is definitely very engaging to drive. Now, when we talk about miles per gallon on this car, it's pretty much 30s all around. Now, not the way that I'm driving, obviously. That's probably going to be like the high 20s, maybe low 20s, depending. That's pretty good gas mileage too, so you're not going to break the bank when you have to fill it up. The only downside, though, is that this car does take 93 octane, so you're going to be spending a little bit more. But you want to have power out of a small engine that's turbocharged, that's what's going to happen. You're going to have to spring for that premium. By the way that this car looks, I expect that there's going to be a ton of mods on this car, especially because there's a lot of young people are going to be driving this. They're going to be changing a bunch of things. Now, the first thing I bet that's going to happen is a different exhaust, because this exhaust is kind of quiet. You don't really hear it as much. You do get some nice induction noise, but there's only so much you can do with 1.5 liters of Fury. I was just bringing up the mods, and the owner just told me that they already made a tune for it that brings the horsepower and the torque figures over 200 on stock everything, and it wasn't a CVT model even, so with the stick you're probably going to have a little bit more power. That actually brings it right there to the SI. That is pretty darn good. I do wonder, if I lower the window over here and get on it, am I going to hear that exhaust or not? I should probably be in first for that. That rev hang though. That's pretty darn quiet. Caroline, thank you so much for letting me drive your awesome little Civic hatchback, and I hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you on the flip side. Dude, are you serious?
It's lighter than my El Camino, if it's like that.
That's nuts. This is not, like, people in the 60s would be like, okay, I feel unsafe in this.